Hello and welcome to Two Beards, a podcast, and Wrexham AFC. Thank you, listeners, for joining for another week. That is Adrian, mate.
Hey, mate.
Another week. How you going?
Yeah, good, mate. It's been bloody eventful. And it's so funny because we come to the table every week and we're like, what do we talk about? Where are we going to go from here? Is there going to be enough content from the US games? Well, unfortunately, it seems like we've got a bit to talk about today.
Yeah, no, I kind of agree with you on that one. It's gonna be a good little segment later on, but we'll get some housekeeping out of the way.
Yeah,
We
keep
picked
keep
up a
happy, keep happy.
we picked up a new fuckhead during the week.
Oh no, we're not doing this now, are we? So Chris was like to me beforehand, he's like, hey, how I segued from fuckhead to, the patron like account that we run. I'm like, yeah. He goes, yeah. So someone actually wants us to be called that. And Mr. JW Craig,
Thank
the
you, by the
man.
way.
Thank you, by the way. Yeah, that is the first one. But also, we can't encourage him. All right, we can't encourage the fuckery that's happening right now. We have to draw the line, or we will lose it. And honestly, guys, let's be real. The line's about 50 k's down the road from me, and from Chris, that's a very long way away. So
Oh yeah, I jumped over that line a long fucking time ago.
no,
But
that's it. But no,
JW
look, mate,
Craig,
we appreciate it.
new patron. So really, really appreciative. If you guys want to jump on board and become a fuckhead yourself, if that's what we're going to end up calling it, we will decide on it eventually. But by all means, visit twobeardsmedia.com, which is our website. And a link below is to join for the patrons as well. Please like, share, subscribe. That
The
actually
usual
does us
shit.
a massive help when you do. So, um, if you don't want to become a patron or anything like that, you don't want to buy merch, you don't want to help, then that way, that's perfectly fine. We love you anyway.
We get you. We get it. We
You
we
know, but
understand that, like, it's not about monetary value. It's all about, just getting the word out there, and people who are retweeting, sharing links, even just tweeting us, about their opinion of the episode. I don't know about you, Chris, but like I get, like, it's kind of giddy. I mean, I don't know if it's self-obsessive or what, but like I just love hearing what others think about what we're talking about. Because sometimes I could be like, oh, are we too far off the mark because we're in Australia? Are we not aligning with the general public? But then, we get, episodes like last episode where we had the amazing I call them the Sydney Reds. I don't know if they have their own official name for themselves, but the Sydney Reds in John and Mike, and they were just bloody brilliant, and to showcase them, because again, these guys are the OGs of Australian Wrexham supporters. So we really appreciate them coming on as well.
Oh, definitely, definitely. So, shout out to our two patrons. Shout out to last week's guests, JW Craig and Will Huddersfield. We love you. And if you want to join, by all means, click the link. It costs you $5 a week. You get access to a private Discord. You will get cheap, 10% off all of our merch in our merch store. You'll get shout outs on the pod, and you'll be eligible for a monthly giveaway, which will be starting hopefully in September if we get enough
Oh
patrons.
yeah, September. Yeah, it'll be September now.
Yeah.
Especially, and also just to fucking sell it. Sweet fuck all is
Yeah.
coming your way as well. So just make sure, if you are after that sweet fuck all, you might not want the merch. You might not want a Discord server, but you might want sweet fuck all, and we've got it. So
Oh yeah, we got sweet fuck all in abundance. All right, with that, we will get on to our first and pretty much, I'd say, only topic for this podcast. So let's get on to that on the other side of this. Let's talk about the US tour, hey? And let's start with that very latest game against Manchester United. Wrexham
Yep.
versus Manchester United. It was a bit sour. Let's
Brutal.
put it. Um,
Wasn't a friendly in my eyes.
that was look. It was great. We kicked their ass. We won, but we lost Super Paul Mullin. Poor guy. That we'll address that right now.
Yep.
We'll get
Rip
that
the
off the
band-aid
bat.
off. If you don't
Um,
know the news, if you don't know the news though, take a seat. You're going to want to sit down.
yes, if you haven't seen the game and we're your source of information here. So in the 11th minute, Paul Mullin did what Paul Mullin does, and he got onto a nice little breakaway. It was a good little passover. Um, Charging down, it was him and the goalkeeper, and you know what happens in these situations. Paul Mullin, 100% of the time, pretty much scores.
Yep.
And so I watched that happen. He's running on towards the
Yep.
goalkeeper, got flicked up. He was going to head it over and into the goal, and the goalkeeper just came out and charged straight at him, like fucking didn't stop,
Yep.
didn't pull up, and just bowled straight into him and took him out of the game. Poor Paul Mullin, Super Paul Mullin, has got apparently, according to reports, a broken rib and a small puncture in his lung.
Hmm.
So I'll start out by saying, Paul Mullin, our thoughts are with you. We
Yeah, we're
hope
with
you
you,
have
mate.
a nice, speedy recovery. It fucking sucked seeing you go through that.
Yeah.
Oh,
I honestly I think what I share the sentiment that everyone's just been doing, and it's like I don't care what the fucking score was. I don't care. If you told me we got done 10-0 by the academy kids, but Paul Mullen doesn't puncture his lung, I'll take that every day of the week. I think every fan would take that every day of the week.
mm,
So yeah, win was nice. I think the boys just kind of I think Chris said it off air to me, but he said he thinks that they kind of got a bit spurred on by a bit of a wake up call. All right, fuck these guys. And Elliot Lee, obviously, minutes later, putting it away,
my
doing
favorite.
Elliot Lee things.
Oh, I
And
love it.
look, yeah, look, and to be honest, I'll talk about I. So I've personally, I've had so basically a couple of years back had heart surgery, and in recovery, there's a little bit of fluid around my lungs, and they had to do it was called like a pleural effusion, or I might be saying that wrong. If you're a doctor, sorry, but basically they have to drain it, right? And to do that, it's basically puncturing the lung. Now, from my experience of it, obviously it's stupid painful, but what he's going through is 10 times worse because it's not in a controlled environment. It's obviously happened by accident. What I think is crazy about it is and I think it's been mentioned actually a lot on Twitter, but I had to stay in hospital, I think for 10 days, I want to say, or 7 to 10 days. Anyways, that means Paul's probably not coming home for a while. And that's probably what gets me most.
Mm.
Obviously, sucks that he's in pain, sucks that he's going through it. But even with a small puncture, even with a precise one, they still got to keep an eye on it. I think they put like a drainage thing there as well. So he can't really fly, and I think it's to do with also the cabin pressure as well. Again, I might be talking out my ass here, guys. I did
No,
a
you are
couple of
100%. So coming
yeah,
from a family where um that's from someone that suffers from a chronic lung condition,
yep,
flying is a real problem. So
yep,
if you've got a puncture in your lung, you're not you can't pressurize your lungs properly. So they won't
yep,
allow him to fly until that at least is 100%.
yep.
Um, and yeah, it just really sucks because that means he's obviously going to miss out on the MK Dons game. Um,
But away from
and then
family
more.
too, I think that's the
Yeah.
hardest, right? Like
Oh,
he's,
they'll
I
fly
don't
out to
know.
be with him. They'll
Oh,
fly
for
out.
sure.
Yeah.
They will, but it's more like, especially the boys will be back home. He's going to want to be close to them. Yes, he's not going to be at the games. Yes, wasn't going to be. I'm not saying he wouldn't be in a hospital bed, but he'd be in a hospital bed that was local, that
Mm.
people could go visit him. So hoping Rob visits him every day. So Rob, if you're listening, bud, you're
Mm.
probably the only local the closest local, at least, to a San Diego hospital. So yeah,
Exactly.
just drive one up, mate. Do the right thing.
Yeah, he'll probably go stay at Rob or Ryan's place for a couple of weeks. He'll be all right. He'll love it. But that said, I mean, it's a serious bloody injury, and it sucked to see him go through that. So
Yeah.
seriously, Paul Mullin, mate, get better soon. Come back to us. Come back firing. Um, and hopefully, there's no more complications with that. So I don't know how long it's going to
Mm.
be. It could be 6 to 8 weeks. Could be more. Just depends on how quickly he heals. And I know he's a tough bastard. So you
Yeah,
see
he
what
could be back
happens.
sooner than we think. He could be. I think that's the best part is, I'm not a fit bloke. So for me to come back, get out of hospital like 10 days later, that might just be because I'm not a fit bloke. Whereas this guy's obviously peak of his fitness in his trade as well. He'd probably be out in days, but still, obviously, awful thing. But I think what I love to take away from today, and when we've recorded this, so the game is obviously today. I want to take away the small little wins that we got. I think obviously Elliot Lee's goal is great, and I know we'll get into, I guess,
Yeah, so
how
let's
Aaron
let's
Hayden.
let's just go with that. So
Yeah,
we take away obviously the bad that Paul Mullen got injured, which is the worst thing we could have asked for. The goal from Elliot Lee, which came about 10 minutes after Paul Mullen got injured. I mean, oh, that I put up a tweet today and I said that felt like a big fuck you to. He's like, fuck you for wiping out our top player because
yeah,
it was just perfect. And it was a cross. Um, Ollie Palmer went up to take the header and it just sort of grazed over his head. Um,
yep,
and and dropped right down at Elliot Lee's feet and just rocketed it straight into the goal. Keeper had no hope.
no,
And I mean, geez, when you're staring down the barrel of Ollie Palmer and Elliot Lee in front of you, you're like, oh, I'm fucked.
yeah.
There's no
And
way.
I'm glad it was against the keeper who did it as well, because he got subbed off at halftime. So to him to concede two of them made me feel pretty good. Speaking of the second goal, the reason I want to bring this up is Aaron Hayden and there's no secret about it. Aaron Hayden is one of my all-time favorite Wrexham players.
Oh, it's good
I
to
love
see him
the
back on the scorecard.
great to see him on the scorecard. Obviously, it was good to see him back last week, but last game.
And do you
But
know
it
what?
was
It had to be from a Tozer throw.
But here's the thing about the Tozer throw, and I know you would have seen it and you would have heard the commentary around it. He's unfortunately did something that the EFL is not going to allow, and that is use a towel to dry off the ball.
Mm.
Obviously, that is now banned because they just saw Tozer being a threat to them, so they just took that out. I'm not sure if that's the legitimate way, but honestly, it was fucking brilliant because he's done it. He's taken the fucking moisture off it and he's just got this grip. And the commentator put it to a T. He's like, that's going to the 6 yard box. Like that's going in that
He
6 yard box
rocketed that.
straight in.
I've seen some of the footage like from that the fans have been taking and posting on Twitter. And the distance he threw that is just mind-boggling. And for it to literally go from there from where he chucked it all the way into the 6 yard box.
Yeah,
Oh, geez. And for Hayden to get on the end of it, Aaron Hayden to get on the end of it was yeah,
it's epic.
that was epic. I'm like, yeah,
But it wasn't even just
these
him
boys are
either. It
coming
was
back.
That's it. Well, it was the setup as well. Like, so I think I want to say it was Max Clearworth. I might be completely wrong here, but the first header just sat it up enough that Aaron, being the best vertical leap out of those guys there, he was just like bang straight onto it, got up,
Mm.
and then straight into the net. And honestly, that just made me feel like, all right, Hayden's back. He's back in peak fitness. Um, God, touch all the wood. Just fuck, I hope he just stays fit this year, because if he was on track last season, sorry, he was on track for being one of our better players, if not one in the team of the season for the at least for the EFL, for the EFL. We'll see here. I'm forgetting about the National League now. That's how this has affected me.
And
But
how much of a good pickup? Got to say this. So I love Aaron Hayden, but and shout out to me, the wife and Wrexham AFC podcast for this one. Because I did hear him mention it on their podcast, and I have to completely agree. Ryan Barnett,
yep,
what the
fucking
fuck is
absolute
that guy on?
superstar, fucking
Like,
superstar today.
jizz in a cup and give some of that to me. Like, fucking hell.
Jesus Christ.
I
See,
want
this is why I don't let Chris go on a run, because he'll
I
go on
want
a run
someone
and
with
it's
them.
fine. He's fine. And then he just brings in, jizz in a cup. And I think this is where I told you about the line. So, patrons, if you're listening, again, this is what happens when you give him an inch, he'll take a mile.
But no, seriously, like he's on another level. He was, and we'll talk about him in the other games too.
Yep.
But just the pace he's charging with and breaking away key defenders
Did
down
you
that
see that
wing is
highlight?
just
Yeah,
nuts.
I was
And
literally going
getting
to say
across
that.
him.
Did you see that highlight down that right wing?
Mm,
When he literally took on three players. One of them even clipped the ball like whilst it was at his feet, and he still pushed it forward, pushed it away from him, and has enough speed to keep going. So
mm.
he's not only running, guys, he's controlling the ball at the same time. So that slows you down a bit. There are people running full pace at this guy, and he still keeps moving. So yeah, he was my man of the match. Obviously, people who scored the goals, of course, Aaron Hayden, Elliot Lee, and another one of my favorites, Sam Dolby, which I'll get into a moment. But Barnett, good call. Great call, Chris. Great call.
Definitely. Like I've I mean, look, Elliot Lee's obviously going to be one of my favorites. You can't go past him. He's
Nah.
such a gun on the field. But I mean, Barnett, and especially now Tom O'Connor floating through the midfield. I just loved the look of the makeup. I think we've seen what Phil Parkinson's got planned.
Yep.
We've seen hints of it. And I'm liking what I'm seeing. We're seeing a side that is a bit more crisper and cleaner on the passes, creating open runs, using the triangle.
Yep.
They're really, you can see where they've been working on these areas, and it seems to have paid off. And with the star quality that we've got, um, and Will Boyle in defence as well. We'll touch
Will
on him.
Boyle. That's right, guys. Will Boyle. I've said
Will
it right.
Boyle.
There you go.
All
Someone give me a gold star. There we go. Continue.
right, there you go.
Boom. Oh, there it is. That's Rousey's challenge for the week. Every week, this guy puts a Batman mask on his face or a sweet fuck all award in the wall, but now he's putting a big old star.
Yeah, yeah. I'll make it cover your face so we don't have to look at you.
Yeah, fair. I am ginger, so it's pretty repulsive. So apologies. That's why I think that's why I wanted us to be a purely podcast medium on like Spotify and stuff. Because, my mum always said I had a face for radio. So,
I
so
think that would include both of us.
come on, bud, come on.
Uh,
But now, look. Can I make one little thing about Sam Dolby, and I promise we'll move on to the next game. But
all right,
Mr.
Super Sam
Sam
Dolby.
Dolby, oof. Okay, I really worry when we see Palmer on a good streak like he was at the start of the game, and I wonder, I hope this doesn't cut into what Dolby's minutes are going to be. And then, Dolby then starts sniffing around other clubs going, well, I want full minutes, blah, blah, blah. What he showed me today showed me this motherfucker ain't backing down. He will probably start most games, possibly ahead of Palmer. I mean, maybe not.
I got to
That's what happened at
disagree.
the end of the season.
I got to
Yeah.
disagree with you on that one because Ollie Palmer, he is looking fit. Like he's just I'm
He
liking
is
what
for
I'm
sure.
seeing. He was involved in everything. He was always there. He was always charging into the box, waiting for the
Yeah.
crosses.
but it
causing
may be
problems on the
better.
defenders. Like,
Yeah,
I
it
think we're
may
going to
be.
have a good year from him.
Yeah, look, I don't doubt we won't have a good year from him. Definitely not saying that. I'm just saying that it may work in the reversals, just like how Sam Dolby was the super sub last season, where he came on and he would just turn it on and kick goals, set up goals, run the minutes out. Maybe Ollie can be doing that as well. So I think we'll see, considering there's a lot of leagues, a lot of competitions this season, I think we'll see that switch up quite a lot. Like you said, maybe it's not in the league. So maybe because Ollie is obviously a lot fitter, he's switched on. But I just see Dolby's that header was absolute class. Like no one would put the body on the line in a friendly, right? Let alone even if that was even a league match. A lot of people just wouldn't attempt it because too low to the ground. But
I
he
think
gets his body low, he gets into it, and he gets it in the net.
I think what happened to Paul Mullin really set the tone of the game, and it became very physical and very like
Yep.
not a friendly.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, for sure. Like they got a
um,
red, which was not a red, but it's because Parky chewed off the ref's ear at halftime, saying, "What the fuck are you doing? It's a red, you fucking
yeah,
maggot."
yeah. Speaking of which, just to touch base back on Paul Mullin, especially with Parky. There were some comments obviously made after the match from Phil Parkinson, where obviously he was still quite emotional, and said, he was asked if he had been approached by the goalkeeper yet, and his
Yep.
response was he probably doesn't want to approach us right now. Probably best keep a distance because we're not happy, which is
Yep.
understandable. You lose your key striker, your 47 goal striker
To a fucking
to
academy
to
goalkeeper.
to academy goalkeeper in a friendly. Of course, you're going to be sour. So look, and emotions are going to be running high. Everyone, all the fans' emotions are going to be running high. But I did see Nathan put out a tweet and where he said he
Bishop.
was really sorry. And you know what? He didn't have to do that. He could have done it
You're right.
privately. He got his number off Ben Foster apparently, and
Wow.
was going to call him. So he's done the right thing. He's apologized. He probably got a little bit too overzealous, a bit too caught in the moment, as you do, and unfortunately, our Paul Mullen paid the price. So I would
I like.
encourage our listeners, guys, just take a moment and understand that this guy is a kid. He's staring down literally the barrel of Hollywood. And he's just got this fucking red wave coming at him. You can't, you can't lambast the guy for what he did. It was a mistake. So that's where I
I,
sit with that. I'm just going to
no,
leave
that
it
is
at that.
great. Like I'm really proud of you, Chris, because we have these conversations off air and we're fuming, and usually I'm the one who has to be a bit I don't know, hey, let's just calm down. Let's just think about it for a minute. But Chris, today, you've done it just now, which is you've shown the class that needs to be shown, which is, yeah, look, I got a bit heated at the moment. I was saying, American fans, I was like a call to arms, go after the kid. Look, booing him definitely, I think, was deserved at the time. But I think right now that's in the game. That was past now. It's a game that will no longer look back on. I'm not going to watch that replay because of it. So I think what we all need to do is, yeah, like you said, just take a minute, think about what he's doing. I now know, all right, maybe, yeah, in the moment, yeah, boo him. I wasn't happy, but now I'm not going to go out and attack the bastard on Twitter or anything like that. So guys, just
Mhm.
be a bit cautious around that as well, because it is a mental health thing as well. It is really important to make sure that these young kids who do make stupid mistakes, and he's allowed to say, like, he's apologized, but it is a stupid mistake, and people make it. I've made them when I was younger. Chris, you've made them when you were younger, and probably 2 minutes ago on the podcast. So, so
Oh, there you
we've all
go.
been there, right? There we go.
There
There you
you
go.
go. Hey, we're still not cancelled though, so it couldn't be that big of a mistake.
No, mate, Chris, I always say it's a mistake because I want to seem edgy. I want to seem edgy that, oh, we're crossing boundaries, but mate, I love it. You know, I love it. He will, but guys, by the way, I'm getting really excited about this. He will edit and he'll be like, Adrian, join me. I want to show you something. I'm like, look, dude, I'm it's 10 o'clock at night. I can't look at this. And he goes, watch. No. Join me. And he will show me, and it's just him making me break every single week. And it's like every single week, he'll make a joke, and I just don't see it coming. And I'll just be like on the floor as a mess. And he goes, see, you can just see at this point you break. And I'm like, you bastard. Trying to remain professional here. But obviously we know that's out the window.
Oh dear. So overall, it was a good game. The result was good, but soured by the fact that we lost Paul Mullin, and he'll probably be out for 6 to 8.
6 to 8,
but
yeah.
In some cases it can be longer. It can be up to 12 to 16, which is really not ideal because that brings us to Christmas, which means he misses pretty much half the season. But I'm not worried because we do have Billy Waters, who's proven to be another good signing. We've got Ollie Palmer that looks like he's on fire. We should get a good season out of him. We got Barnett, we've got
Dolby as
Super
well.
Sam Dolby. All these people saying we need to sign another striker. Sorry, I don't agree with you. I don't think we need another striker, even with Mullin
Probably
out.
just a backup if Billy gets injured, I think.
Yeah, just a backup. I mean, didn't Barnett, he came from a National League side too, didn't he? We nick him from Southend? Where was it? Where did he come from?
Yeah, fuck. Where did he come from? Where did he go? Where did you come from? Ryan Barnett. Let's have a look.
Let's have a look at that one because
I'm just Googling it. Sorry, I just went straight to my phone and now everyone's like, why did everyone go silent? Let's have a look. Wrexham squad.
But I think was Adrian's looking that up. I think with Ryan Barnett, we've got a very special signing. And if he came from the National League, that dude,
no
championship quality.
Came from Solihull. I'm gonna butcher this, guys. You guys, if I can't even pronounce Will Boyle, it's Solihull Moors, right?
Solihull Moors, yeah.
Solihull Moors. So National League, but So and he played 91 appearances for them, which is crazy.
So
between 2021 and 2023.
For him to be of that quality out of the National League is insane. You would normally expect that most National League people, if you're not in the team that's going up, to be fairly average, but holy shit, he is good. I do want to spend a bit of time talking about my boy Palmer because it's good to see him up and about. It's good to see him. It's good to see him getting into it, and he looks fit. He looks fit. So Ryan Reynolds' wife, watch out.
Poor Blake Lively's like, oh shit, Chris is warning me, then we know it's bad.
Well, I guess you can do a Ryan Reynolds and Ollie Palmer spit roast. No,
Jesus,
no, I didn't say that.
No, take it out. Take it out. Jesus H dick. And edit. And then everyone's like, what was so bad that you had to remove it from the podcast? That was it.
No.
But anywho, what I think was the best was our mate. Fuck, you've derailed me, mate. But the best part is Ollie Palmer is back. He is fighting fit.
Back. He is back, baby.
He lost, I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a sports psychologist, but from the outside looking in, he lost his long-time, dog at the end of last season. And that's actually why he missed a couple games as well. And you kind of saw a decline after that. And I'm not blaming it on that either. I don't want to put it on him like, oh, you've cracked the sads. But honestly, it does put an effect on you. I've lost pets before, and they're best friends. So for him to lose his best friend essentially, must have been really hard for him. So I think he's come back. He's also realized the league that he's in, and everyone is after him because of his comments saying that we should go up, we could go up, things like that, and
Oh,
everyone's on his back
I'm
again.
fully on board with him. I'm
Oh
on
yeah,
his
mate.
side. I'm on
I'm
his
with you.
side.
I'm with you. I reckon we'll go up. I would love to go up as champions. And I think, what you said is a very good point. Why can't we do that? But I just think at this point the goal is promotion, and that's what Ollie said when he was in North Carolina for one of the matches there as well. But speaking of matches, can we get into my favorite? I'm going to say it because everyone's heard it 4 million times during the telecast. The Los Dos match, the game against Los Dos.
Los dos.
Los
Yes, but
Dos.
we're not saying los dos.
Los Dos.
No.
I made a joke that like
Oh
on Twitter that
gosh.
if we played the Los Dos drinking
If I've
game, we'd
ever
all have to have
seen
our
such
stomach pumps
a
10 minutes in.
if I've ever seen such a mismatched game in my life, it's that game.
Yep.
Like for a start, there wasn't many. Didn't look like there was many people in the crowd, but I think there's maybe like 8 to 10,000 at the end of the day. But
Yeah. I mean,
this
that
was
was
this is
that was more
LA
to do.
Galaxy 2, and
Yeah.
I called a goal fest, and it was sure as heck a goal fest.
Sure, heck of goal fest, mate.
I mean, it was just mismatched all over the field. Like there was too much quality from Wrexham, and to be honest, LA Galaxy 2 looked lost.
Yep, for
Um,
sure. Now,
but
can I ask you a question? Do you think that this was now obviously it's a marketing ploy. Now, about the attendance, that's because they planned the San Diego match first against Man U. So everyone's snapped up those tickets. Anyone who was going is probably like, well, I'm already going to that one. Bugger it. I'm not going to do that one as well. But do you think it was the I don't know who scheduled it, but we've got a games against two MLS reserve sides, basically, right? So whose choice do you think that was? Do you think that was an MLS decision because they're in a season right now, or do you think that was a club decision?
oh,
This is
um,
completely opinion based, by the way. This is not to question you and say you're wrong, you're right.
it's
It's
hard
just
to
I'd love to know what we think it might be.
it is hard to say. I think it was more of a LA Galaxy decision more than anything. Like
Yeah,
they wanted to be involved, but they could not, under any circumstances, give their main team over because they're in
yeah,
the middle of a season at the moment. They're
yeah,
playing shitloads of games, traveling all over the place. America is a lot bigger country than England, so it takes a while to get places. So that they're I think maybe that was an LA Galaxy decision.
yeah.
Um, and obviously sanctioned by the club because the club's like, hey, that's it's a. I guess it was an easy game. I mean, it was an easy game. Fuck
It
me.
was an easy game. But I think it's funny because I remember you and I were texting during the game, and you made the first call, which is these guys don't even look like a National League side. These guys look like a National League South side.
Yeah,
Um, and I was like,
a
oh,
low
come on,
end
mate, that's a
National
bit
League
harsh.
South, a low
Yeah,
end
well,
National League South, not a
I
promotional
just
National League South.
yeah, well, I disagreed initially, but now I'm like, upon even just seeing a bit of the replay on YouTube, I was like, you know what? I think you're right because it was just a mismatch, and I mean, when we swapped the entire team out, we still destroyed them. So it's
Mhm.
like it just really showcased that this was obviously a scratch match to fill in between the Chelsea and the Man U game, for sure. But now I'm starting to worry. Well, not worry, but I'm starting to wonder about this Philadelphia Union 2 game because now we're going to be coming up against another side like that. But I guess the difference is I think Philadelphia, their senior side at least, are doing a lot better this season than Galaxy. So it'd be interesting to see if they are of that standard or if they're better. What do you think it'll
Mm.
be? Do you think we'll get some more talent than Galaxy?
No, No, I think we're going
Ooh,
to be looking at the same style of game
yep,
that LA Galaxy 2 was.
yep, smart.
It's I think the expectations were around Man United and Chelsea.
Yep,
I know I expected them to beat Chelsea, but it went horribly wrong. But we'll talk about that in a second. Um, but yeah, I think that when we come up against Philadelphia Union 2, I think it'll be much similar to what we saw from LA Galaxy 2. It's too much of a mismatch, and honestly, if it's not and it's an entertaining game to watch, then great. Like, and I just hope everyone gets through uninjured.
yep.
Um, Last thing we want is to take in more injuries. Um,
Do you think that changes Parky's lineup that goes into that match because of
no,
what happened?
no, not at all, not at all. I've heard him in an interview. He's talking about minutes in the legs. So everyone's doing a set amount of minutes throughout these matches. So which is why you
Sweet.
see wholesale changes coming in after the half, and you know, um, so I believe it's all structured that way, and we're starting to see what this side will be in this league, and I think we're going to see a much crisper, much more aggressive.
Yep,
Um, we'll already know that Wrexham can adapt and they can play
yep.
multiple styles, but I think from what I've seen from this is scratch the first game, which we'll talk about soon, but the other games we've seen them play, no matter what side they've had on the field, they've actually been, in my opinion, pretty clinical.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um,
And everyone was in their right position at the right time. Like you could see the swaps that were made from that Chelsea game. In terms, like you said, those wholesale swaps that happened during the other games, you could see that they were different matchups, like different people on the park at the same time, and it just worked well. Like I think Aaron Hayden's starting this one for the Man U one was
mm.
incredible to see. But then he obviously didn't do that in the lot the am I
Oh
going to
yeah,
say it
yeah. No, you can
the
see
the Chelsea
they're
game and
swapping
lost
and
us.
changing a lot. So
Yeah, yeah,
Um, and that's exactly what it's pre-season. It doesn't mean anything. Um, we'll touch on the Chelsea game now. So I did actually think that they would win and it'll be a close game. Uh, we threatened quite a bit, but we just couldn't finish it off. Just
yeah. We weren't
couldn't
right in
get,
that final third, mate.
yeah,
The hardest part about it was that we would get it so, and it like you put it poignantly before.
mm,
We were clinical in every game, but we just couldn't finish off there. And then when we got to, especially the latter stages of that Chelsea game, it fell apart because they're already like, all right, well, no point, putting your body on the line, no point getting, and then all of a sudden people are making really
mm,
dumb mistakes in the back half, allowing, those last three, maybe the last two goals, maybe were
yeah.
really just
But
purely because we
Chelsea
switched off.
Chelsea fielded a very strong side. And
Oh
so we
yeah.
were coming up against pretty much a full strength Chelsea side. Um, you kind of had to expect that was going to happen,
Hmm.
especially being Mauricio Pochettino's first game.
Hmm.
People wanting to impress. He's seeing what his squad is made of, and I think in areas of the game, Chelsea were pushed, and we definitely got a few breaks, and it we threatened. We just couldn't finish it off, and finishing off is extremely important. You
That's what she said.
uh, so
My turn.
yeah, your turn. So you
My turn.
got to make sure
My turn.
whatever you do in life, yeah, finish it off.
Yep. We are such children, but I kind of love it. The no, look, and another thing I want to raise about that Chelsea game as well. We also came off probably the biggest press part of the tour, or by press I mean fan engagement part of the tour. You
Mm,
saw the boys in the sweltering heat staying longer than they would. Super Paul Mullin being one of them, staying back well after everyone had left to make sure everyone was getting signatures, photos, things like that. And I think that can also have something to play with it. And it's not an excuse. I'm not trying to say we still would have lost. We still would have got up at the same result. I just think that can obviously weigh in on maybe switching on in that, especially that first couple minutes when we conceded. What was it, 2 minutes in? That like we conceded, and I was like, yeah, that's, I don't know. We always make that joke, oh, typical Wrexham, like we did against Boreham Wood, oh, great, typical Wrexham, we concede early. But this, I just felt different. It felt like they weren't in gear yet. And I think you're right. By the time they got to the Los Dos game, they'd really clicked, been able to make a lot of
Mm.
changes and swaps, and then got it right against those Man U kids today.
Yeah, I think so. I think we're looking good. We're looking promising for the first round of the series. I believe this is probably a perfect run in for it. Albeit Super Paul Mullin injury aside, it's a good run in, and I'm pretty sure we'll still give it to MK Dons. So,
Yeah, I mean, it's at home too.
and
It's at
people got to
home.
stop getting so worked up. I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, that was a shocking." Yeah, 5-0 is a shit scoreline, but it happens.
Oh, the
You
Chelsea
can
game, you're saying?
play. You
Yeah.
can play really, really, really well, be competitive, and still lose 3-0, 4-0, 5-0, whatnot. It does happen. And if you think that it doesn't, look what happened to Manchester United against Liverpool. That was 7-0,
Yeah.
and that was a walkover. That's
Yeah.
Manchester United first team getting thumped 7-0
Yeah.
by Liverpool. It's like, yeah, it happens. And these results, they happen, and you got to expect them occasionally.
Of
Yes,
course.
it sucks, but we actually put up a fight. And to me, it didn't look like a 4-0 game or 5-0
Yeah.
game.
And have you heard of the saying, that was what was it? The saying is like the loss you had to have, right? The loss we had to
Mm,
have. I'm not saying it was, oh great, we lost and now we're going to be never lose again. But I think actually Fearless in Devotion posted a really good tweet about it. It's like, look, it's not ideal, but it is good to give them a bit of humility because we had such a good run last year that losses were very few and far between. And it's been a long time since Halifax. So, you know, we can't, it's kind of nice for them to remember it, to remember, oh, I don't like this feeling. Yes, it's a friendly, but I still don't like it. And really get that, ingrained into them. And look, again, just a friendly, but that will happen throughout the season as well. We will drop games. We will drop, games maybe we're supposed to win as well. But again, I like to believe that that's what kind of drove us last season, were those games with it maybe, with those, especially the draws that maybe shouldn't have happened. They're the draws you had to have or the losses you had to have to build the foundation to move forward. And I think, yes, 5-0 sucks, but hopefully it galvanizes the group as this is a really bonding trip, and then come back to Wales and really
mm.
stick it to MK.
Yeah, exactly. They need to purchase a big, massive bed that they can all cuddle up and have a bit of a sleep on at night time, and that'll get the bonding going.
That's it. I really thought you were going to go into the bondage thing, but I'm
No,
glad you
no,
didn't lean
no,
into
dude,
that. But
get your mind out of the gutter. Come on, doesn't work
uh,
that way.
well, it can.
These are our boys. I don't want to see them in like some sort of Brokeback Mountain sort of shit.
Then stop putting them in beds. Anyways, I love it. I
Anyway,
love
look,
it, mate. I
on
love it.
that note, we'll see you on the other side of this thing. Well, that brings us to the end of the podcast for another week. It's been a pleasure this week, Adrian.
Thanks, mate.
It's been great to see our boys back on the field and the
Yep.
new signings that have come through and the Women's World Cup, mate. It's been a good episode, hasn't it?
It's been great. We've been so lucky that Wrexham's so massive that there's news every week now. So it just doesn't matter what comes through. There's something to talk about, and I bloody love it, mate. And I just love that it's 365 days of the year we're talking Wrexham.
Well, Adrian, mate, I've got a special for you today.
I'm
So,
excited for this, mate.
oh, mate, we got another live performance for you listeners, and we are extremely excited about this one. This one's got by a guy named STE Jones. Um, Local Wrexhamites might know him quite well, and amazing guy. He's coming on to do a live performance of his song, which is yet to be released, but it'll be coming out on Spotify in the next week. And it'll be available on all platforms that you can listen to music on. And I'm telling you, this I'm really excited for this one. So let's
Let's
pull him
get
in
let's
here,
get into
shall
it.
we? Steve Jones, how you going, mate?
Very good, thank you. Yourselves?
Oh, great.
Really well, mate. Really well. We're just as excited to see you. I think. I think that's where
Yeah,
we're
no,
sitting.
thanks for
Thank,
having me on.
oh, mate, thank you so much for joining us. This is a segment which I think it's grown on us. It's close to our heart. I mean, it's our way of saying thank you to Wrexham and we want to give the artists of Wrexham a platform to display their music to more people than might normally get the chance to. So
Oh, well, it's
have,
very good of you. The, the,
having you
the
on here is
recommend-
an absolute honor. I've heard a little snippet of this song, and I must say, listeners, this will blow your mind. I'm telling you
Yeah,
now.
100%.
How long
So
have you been
what
doing
can I?
music for, mate?
Not
Yeah,
bad. About 10 years now. So I started to learn the guitar. I was a bit of a late bloomer, really. I was 19. My mum bought me a guitar for about 40 quid after moaning about one. And I learned off YouTube, like you do these days. And
Ah,
then I started getting gigs in about 2013. I was about 20, 21. And yeah, I've just been doing it ever since, really.
amazing. That's so good. And what made you? I guess obviously what spurred you on to do this? I guess basically as a living, and continue to do it for these many years.
Um, well, I didn't really get into music till I was about 16, 17. I was into rap music up
Yeah,
until I was a teenager. And then I listened to bands like, just started listening to like the Cortinas, which led me on to Oasis, which I'm sure you might
hey,
have heard of.
yep.
And then that made me fall in love with it, and that made me want to play live, really. And that's where the vision come from, I suppose. And yeah, I've just been packing away
oh,
ever since.
well, mate, I'm a big Liam Gallagher fan and Oasis.
Yeah.
They were down. He
Oh,
was actually down here touring a little while ago, and I got to go to
yeah.
his concert, and I just love that style of music. It's so good.
There's
Um,
nothing like that atmosphere, is there? It's just
yeah. It's just a shame he's a
Surreal.
Man City fan. Like, come on, he could at least
Yeah,
like Wrexham.
both of them. Yeah,
well, like, hey, maybe if the Gallagher's get on board, then we'll have them at the race course one day.
that's it.
Oh,
That's it. I mean,
absolutely,
we had Kings
absolutely.
of Leon, right? So why not
Well, yeah,
Oasis?
that's it. Unfortunately, I was on a stag do for that, so I missed it. But
Ah,
Oh,
oh,
spewing.
was it worth it?
yeah, yeah, it was good. It was Marbella, so it was pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Perfect.
this song you've written and you're performing for us today is called "Bury Me in Wrexham."
That's right. Yeah.
So how did this one come about?
Well, obviously, with all the newfound fame of Wrexham and all the good stuff, all the attention that's been coming to it, I don't know. I don't really know. I was speaking to my brother. I was like saying, you should get on this, try maybe write a song. And I thought I've never really been into like story-based songs. It's always been about, romance or songs about when you're angry or it's got a problem to get off your chest. But I thought it'd be interesting to write something about the town, and it was just nice to. It's probably the most enjoyable song I've wrote because I could take the ego out of it and just write about from different people's perspectives and have it to be more inclusive, really. And it was really enjoyable. And the lyrics took quite a while. Took me about. I started writing in October last year, and I didn't finish it till early this year because I kept changing lyrics and I wanted to make sure it wasn't too corny, but do you know what I mean? To make sure people can relate to it and try and just get a bit of everything involved about the town and the club and all sorts, really.
Oh, mate. Well, I can honestly say, I mean, as an Aussie myself, I was born in England. I was born in Coventry, but as a
Oh, really?
yeah, born over in Coventry.
He's a trader. Yeah.
Yeah. But I jumped ship from the Sky Blues to Wrexham, of course. But
Of course.
right, I gotta say, like, just a little bit I've heard of this, it really gets you. Like, it just makes me want to be a part of Wrexham so bad, and
Oh, good. I'm glad. That's what I was going for.
Well, you're reaching people across, like, yeah. I mean, for us, like, we just off air just had a just a powwow about how excited we are to have this song and how it hits us right in the feels, right? And we we are newer fans, and we understand we haven't gone through the lowest of the lows that a lot of other fans have, but you still make an impact with this song, so it hits us. So I can't imagine what the people who have experienced all colors of the rainbow.
Yeah. Well, that's it. And I'm not going to say I've been a fan since I was this big. But look, I mean, brother's been a lifelong fan, and there's people there who have been through the woes with Wrexham, and it's not just about the club; it's about the town as well as a whole as well. So I tried to, hopefully everyone can appreciate it in some way, and no matter what,
100%.
if you're even not from Wrexham, you can kind of think about your town or where you're from, and
But we're lucky because we get to hear this like a week before everyone else. And everyone else, when the pod gets released, gets to hear this. So
it's great, yeah.
We're going to sit here and we're going to drink beer.
Yep.
And we're going to
join you on that one.
There we go.
Cheers,
there we
mate.
go. Good. That's it. Perfect.
It's a bit earlier here, but it's past 3 o'clock, so we're okay.
It's 5 o'clock.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Right? Yeah, that's it.
All right. So we're going to sit here and enjoy. So listeners, enjoy STE Jones, Bury Me to Wrexham. Mate, take it away.
Okay. So here I stand, a Wrexham lager in my hand, and an ache in my heart for the fatherland. All my life and still I've been here and I always will. But this town of mine has gone to the mill. But if you want to know a good place to go, it's a wonderful sight just past the lights down on Mold Road. And there you'll find local hearts that bind, true masters of the grind. So I say welcome to Wrexham. I'm sure you've heard all the tales, the highs, the lows, the twos and the fro's of the greatest town in Wales. St. Giles stands tall and looms over it all. From Hightown to Gresford, they all answer the call. And it won't be long before you hear the songs, and the race course is bouncing with 10,000 strong. We'll rattle the stands with our grafters' hands, and we'll sing to the end, great sons and daughters of colliery men. So let the drummer boy go, and let the floodlights glow.
That was incredible.
Oh
Got through. Was that a
wow!
hitch? I think.